Hello our viewers, welcome back to Carbide Farms, and in today's video we'll be talking about how the weather affects egg production.
All right, good day, viewers. Welcome to Carbide Farms once again. It's been a while. So, like today, we basically going to talk on egg production in relation to changes in weather, especially heat period, hot period. The fluctuation in weather, how it affects eggs production. As many of you that have been our follower or subscriber rather, you understand at least a bit how our production has been. And today we want to kind of make some clarity or the true realities of how the fluctuation in weathers reflects in our productions. Normally before now I have an average of 20 crates production. Yes, but since let's say step into this weather, last month basically we have a production drop. I'm sure there is a lot of fluctuation this season period. So one illness to bring down production. Like as of last month, we have a production drop down to around 11, 12 crates like that. So on average, so some like two period of 2 weeks in last month. But by God grace, before the end of February, the production need to scale up again. And we are currently on average of let's say 19 crates now like this. So we are still kind of still a bit below our optimum production level that we used to before. Basically, our production is around 83, 85%, and we are on a deep litter system. So this weather have a lot effects, negative effects per se, especially on a tropical region like my location like this, a tropical region which is known for hot temperature or hot weather uh, from the temperature. So it's have a negative effect on the birds and affect the overall production. One, it will affect the consumption rate. It affect the level on which the animal eats. So the eating now a kind of selective, based on either selective early hour of the day and late hour of the day, majorly. So because each generation also cause mortality because the fat level content in their body will cause some negative reaction that will affect circulation and lead to egg problems in some cases. So this weather affect the food, the level, how the amount of feed they consume. Of course, the feed consumption dropped definitely or basically only dropped compared to the previous time. Two, and as you drop the water level, the water intake also, most of the water now is automatically hot. So that also again affect the water intake that they ought to take. And so let's among the approach you use is to kind of segment their water intake for the day. Instead of giving them at a go, to want to split them into different time phases and time, so that at least have a tendency of circulating fresh water that is have a fresh oxygen circulation in it. So that way that and that in the return, the laying stress increase during this period because all this laying itself is like giving birth every day. Just the way the animal or human give birth every day. So laying is synonymous with giving birth. We don't use saturation. So if saturation is on a daily basis, you know what it means. So the stress of the environment plus the stress of laying stress itself is like a double factor in this case. So the laying stress of the stress of laying is because times double of whatever stress they're having five before like 10. So that's of course affect production. And of course the size of the eggs too is a challenge now because the weather this weather soaked up many essential amino acids in the nutrients of the field, either in the animals or water. Because when the water is it become heated, most of the nutrients there is hot and affected. So also with the food. So those are the essential amino acids, they are sensitive to light. So sensitive to heat rather. So it's good to measure some let's say management approach to secure remedy for some of those highlighted challenges. Like I say, segment their water intake. Feed also I switch to early hour of the day and the late hour of the day in terms of feeding. Uh, and this then again the night there should be light out. Light out in the sense that player is designed to have at least 14 to 16 hours of lightning is different from heat like producing bulb and then just to want to see and eat place and produce some farm to the ceiling to be able to extract or at least introduce fresh air. And then that has some level of limitation in the sense that the heat that the fan circulates, sorry, the air that the sun circulates in most cases at times is the one I absorb from the heat. So which so the zinc, which end up being to carry hot air instead of fresh air. So it's a major impact, not the ideal measure in that regard. And then of course you know that the heat generation in this period is from both up and down. The litter system, because I'm on a deep litter system, so those material, litter material, the bedding material on the floor have a tendency of generating heat when the usually temperature is at the climax. So generate heat, so the heat that can from both from ground and from up to see, so you see how make so more intense for the animal. So this is a period that is a very trying period in the layer production. If you are not under an automated system of environment, it's a trying period because you have to each challenge from both the ground up. So and that is called for frequent change of bedding material, litter material from time to time on the ground. So that because when there's ammonia buildup or water splash on the litter material, the heat generated is entirely different. Because that one is complete ammonia, and of course that bring about respiratory infection. So these are the challenges of weather, hot weather, this share this period. So I'm going to like the next 2 months ahead after this. This is March, okay? Let's say yeah, April and part of May again. So as until this a setting in of rainfall, downpour, that we need to have some relief and layers to we need to have some reliable uh, environment that will suit that production. But this one basically affect production, affect their health. So mortality, that is number of people can die anytime with on this heat stress. So it's very devastating and call for good management approach. So and then like the birds are on the floor. If they're on the battery cage, you'll be lifted the height to be above ground level, which will access to fresh air or the flow of vertical air in the opposite direction. But in this case, they're on the floor, so at times on case which the air on the ground floor, the aeration within the ground is just the one from later material, and then so the aeration level there is even contaminated. The one from up mixed up with heat from the zinc and the rain for this. So it's ideal to have a means switch to battery, sorry, yeah, battery cage. You have the means if you possible because it's more enjoyable and less uh, predisposing to some illness, bacterial infections because this heat period is mostly accompanied bacterial infections rather than virus. So most of some of these things is just what you can avoid in the battery cage. Coccidiosis and some of this ammonia, you avoid them well or better in battery cage. But in a nutshell, this season or period of weather demand good and proper attention. Motiva should be steady in the water. So motiva is an electrolyte. So those are steady in the water. Because the level which they lost nutrient now is faster than the level which they gain it back. This one naturally can kill off all those essential minerals of the feed you are giving us, you don't know. Because those micronutrients are sensitive to heat. So these are all ups and downs in layer production, especially in a tropical region where the season is always hot for a period of about 4 5 months, like that of our own environment here. So it's trial, and once you're planning your farm, you need to put this season into consideration and then profile possible way or channel in which you navigate through it when that time comes. Because without that, you can be devastated. That's the honest truth. Mortality, that is dying of birds and drop in production and the rest. And the end of not knowing what to do. But when you take it to place, can devise a means to see how you manage the beginner periods, water pump to flush the birds. So it's good to project and forecast all this ahead of time so that you will not have a big setback in layer production. Thank you.